Hello there and welcome to my reaction to Guilty Gear Lore, Heaven or Hell, Duel 5. Events of GGXrd, sign. Not from something to something, it's just sign. Alright. Fair enough, like subscribe, become a member, let's begin. Let's just jump into it. The video is long enough.
Valentine has been defeated
Okay.
only 1 week after her
For me to make
declaration
intros.
of war.
I wanted to say.
In Babylon, strange gray ash is raining from the sky, and the once bustling city is now a deserted wasteland.
So it's not snow.
With no survivors found, but all structures still intact, the world watches on in confusion.
Fair enough.
Some believe it to be Ramlethal's doing. Others say
It ain't.
it's caused by a change in St. Elmo's fire. But only a select few realize the truth.
Cradle did it, or
The
Conclave
Conclave
did
has
it.
finally played its hand. The Cradle has awakened, and the last dawn has begun.
The dawn of the last day.
始めようか。世界征服だ。
This doesn't really make sense because they kind of already... They are in charge of the world, aren't they? Dear lord, that's loud.
Get ready to rock.
This is the loudest part in every video. Don't like the world governments go to them for like advice on how to control stuff because they kind of
GGXrd, sign,
at the top already.
story mode.
Power hungry losers is what I'm saying.
Moments before Ramlethal's declaration of war on October 21st, she meets with the Conclave to see if they're mentally prepared to proceed with the common goal of activating the Cradle. Libraria has
Wait, what
doubt
did
to
that
proceed
say?
with the common goal of
Oh,
activating
mentally.
the
I thought that was a weird name.
Libraria has doubts because of the projected casualty count, but Axis chides her, emphasizing that there isn't enough time to make humanity understand. Libraria concedes that the Conclave only exists because of what they intend to do today. Cronus then signals the beginning of the last dawn. Days later,
How does Conclave
following
keep
the
himself
destruction of
young?
Babylon, King
Or
Leo Whitefang
alive?
is scrambling to get search and rescue efforts underway when he's contacted by King Kai Kisk, requesting approval for temporary release of Elfelt Valentine. Leo declines, so Kai decides to act alone to authorize her release.
Oh, it's this girl.
Elfelt's constraints are removed, and she immediately deploys from Kai's Royal Fleet 1 airship. Within seconds, she's able to nullify Ramlethal's self-destruct attack on Sol and subdue her.
She looks extremely cute and hot at the same time.
あれどうしてエル
Where did she come
Elfelt,
from,
like her
though?
sister Ramlethal, are creations beholden to Mother, just like the original Valentine of Baptisma 13. Unlike the others, however, Elfelt was born with no knowledge of her true mission up until her memories were unlocked on the day of her wedding. Finding herself at odds with her programmed role to bring about
Wedding
human
to who?
homicide, she decides to leave her fiancé, a death metal vocalist, at the altar.
A death
She
metal
then
vocal.
finds Kai and chooses
If that's all we know, it's hilarious. That, like, this character that... I guess she didn't have memory, she was just somewhere in the background. She's never done anything until that point. Like, the character that became important in the story left a wedding with a just death metal vocalist. Death metal, that's it. Nothing else. Oh, I don't
chooses
love
to
that.
warn him of the coming dangers instead. We flash back to a
And you-
research lab in 2014.
Just captured her.
Arya asks Frederick if he's ever wanted to be a bird. He says no, but
Would you
flying
love
would
me
be
if I was a
cool,
bird?
So why not a cockroach? Arya calls him unromantic. Aska arrives, and the conversation shifts towards human experiences. What would you do if the world was going to disappear tomorrow? Frederick replies, stop whatever's ending the world or die trying.
Fair
Arya
enough, you
says,
die trying or you die
"You mean
tomorrow, it
spend
doesn't
it with
matter
someone
much.
you love?" A year later, in 2015, Frederick celebrates the creation of Aska's stabilized gear cells and the end of human illness. But Aska's concerned about them being weaponized. They agree that they'd rather destroy the research than allow that to happen. Asuka tries to tell Frederick something about Arya, but the moment passes. Another year later, in 2016, Frederick discovers Arya's terminal illness. She doesn't want him to drop everything and find a cure, nor put her in cryosleep. She just wants to not be alone and spend her time with Frederick.
Dude, goodbye to illness. Is that why she became
Bedman's
Justice?
dream world, he analyzes the history of Soul Bad Guy and reports to his unknown client that he finds him fascinating. Shortly afterward, alone, he ambushes a gathering of Slayer, Milia Rage, and Venom, who've decided to report their intel on the Cradle to Illyria.
No.
Bedman's client
That's
notices
successful,
he's
I
having
guess.
fun fighting assassins and notes the similarity between him and his sister, Delilah. Bedman is displeased at the topic, but reiterates that his sister is the reason they must create an absolute world.
Okay.
Aboard Royal Fleet 1, Sol, Kai, and Sin hear the radio reporting a Babylon cover story crediting the Illyrian forces, keeping the existence of Elfelt a secret. Some of the public believe the catastrophe might have been caused by St. Elmo's fire, a naturally occurring giant lightning bolt that strikes once every 13 years.
That's a thing?
Created for once saving several
That's
members
what
of the Holy Order
St. Elmo's
during the
fire is?
Crusades, as it struck a group of gears, giving humanity the upper
In One Piece, that was not the
prevented from
ability.
causing
Not at
massive
all.
casualties in a populated area.
That was fire,
Illyria
actually.
Castle itself was built to be a massive lightning rod to attract it. Elfelt further explains the truth about the Conclave to Kai, Sol, and Sin. Ramlethal escapes her interrogation room and threatens to destroy the ship itself, but Elfelt once again nullifies her abilities, as they are sisters with similar programming. Without any ability to fight back, all Ramlethal can do is talk. Sin, who quickly becomes friends with Elfelt, attempts to reach out to Ramlethal's emotional side as well, and gives her a mage hound, a magical puppy that keeps biting her. Soul warns
Where
Sin
did he
that
pull
these
that out
Valentines
of? Did
aren't
he
human,
create it right there?
aren't to be trusted, and to expect betrayal. Sin doesn't care, and points out that Soul's just projecting his own insecurities.
That is probably true. Wait, what is exact words?
Soul warns Sin that these Valentines aren't human, aren't to be trusted.
Doesn't matter how much they look like us, those things aren't human. You're only part human, and so is he. Dizzy wasn't human. It's like human is relative in this scenario.
And to expect
Soul.
betrayal. Sin doesn't care, and points out that Soul's just projecting his own insecurities. Meanwhile,
I mean,
King Leo Whitefang
he's right.
debriefs U.S. President Vernon on the captured
and when
Valentine.
Sin is right, that's
Not
something.
long afterwards,
That's a fact.
the Cradle is detected reappearing over the Black Sea. A transmission comes in from Major Lyle of the Istanbul Battalion, en route to Babylon. They're near enough to have a visual on the target. King Leo commands him to approach cautiously and only provide intel, but Major Lyle defies the order and goes on full offensive.
You idiot, you're gonna die.
The Cradle activates again, and its energy sphere engulfs the area. Johnny contacts Foss for help with May's
Oh, Johnny's
unknown
still around.
ailment, which appears to only be affecting
I
Japanese
mean, like in
people.
the story.
Faust looks at her patient record and realizes that Japanese colony residents have been receiving a placebo instead of correct treatment. May,
Of course,
in the
they
meantime, distraught
experimented.
after Ramlethal called her a disease,
Being experimented on.
decides to leave home to keep her friends safe.
Correct.
Chip convinces
This
her
is
to
Harden
return.
J.
As they reunite with the
He's so in
Jellyfish
love with
Pirates,
Johnny.
Bedman appears, having defeated the assassins single-handedly.
Oh. Chip is cool. I like Chip. But Clifford would have destroyed Bedman. Cliff, not Clifford. Clifford the red, big red axe. Oh?
Johnny and Chip are about to lose when Zato interferes, saving them. Bedman escapes. Eno brings Axel Low to the backyard.
Oh yeah, they have
He
their own
meets Asuka
adventure.
and delivers a message from the original, as it can only be heard by the intended recipient.
Oh.
なんだこの音。普通に喋ったはずなのに。
It's indecipherable noise, but Asuka understands it and thanks Axel by offering some
I guess
sweets
that's
to go
proof
with
that
his
it was
tea,
the original
with
who done
flavors
that.
that can only be
Or who
experienced in the
said
backyard.
that.
Axel, fearful, politely declines and asks to leave, wondering how the man behind Justice and the Crusades could be so polite. Bonding over their unusual parental situations, Elle tells Sin that if he ever feels like calling Kai Dad someday, he should do it. She then explains that her mother is not a real person, but actually an implanted concept she's programmed to obey. Her abilities allow her to find people with the right code, like Soul or Sin, but when she ran away from her mission and used it, it somehow led her to Kai instead. 2074,
Because of the eye.
the day Justice awakens.
Because the dragon
At a
installed.
relaunched Gear project facility, Asuka looks on during a test activation of Justice when something goes horribly wrong. An entity from within the backyard attempts to make contact. It was identical to the Dawn of Revival, except this time, the manifestation of a divine will now had a perfect vessel to birth itself into, no longer confined to electronics.
Oh.
Suddenly, the information density detected within Justice spikes to the equivalent of a galaxy cluster. Within
Jesus
seconds,
Christ.
using DNA data acquired from Justice, the being begins replicating additional bodies by the hundreds, simultaneously manifesting them into reality in her immediate surroundings, floating above Japan. Asuka realizes that at this rate of replication, within the hour, humanity will be lost. Calling out to Justice as Aria, he tells her that he's switching to manual override, charges her gamma ray to maximum output plus 40, and gives the command to fire. His lab tech says this will vaporize the entire country, and can't bring herself to do it. Asuka apologizes for asking her, and fires it himself.
頑張れ。発射。
It's kind of a necessary sacrifice, I guess.
あの光は何？私は何を撃ったの？
Arya screams in confusion as a blinding light engulfs everything. Kai
Wow.
receives a secret data log from Leo. It's revealed that Major Lyle's battalion
Japan can have a
inexplicably
break.
survived the Cradle, and that
Why
their
did
attacks were deflected.
why did Japanese game developer destroy their own country?
By Absolute Defense Felion, an extremely specialized spell that repels everything physical and magical that can only be performed by the Sanctus Maximus or a Conclave member.
Oh.
Kai decides it isn't safe to discuss further plans until they're out of reach from Conclave surveillance, in the one place off the grid, Zep. Saul disagrees with Kai's methods, to which Kai then asks Saul
For hating on Zap,
if
they
he's
use it a
only
lot.
after revenge, and if he sincerely doesn't care what happens to the rest of the world.
お前は本当にあの男に復讐を果たすためだけに私たちと行動を共にしているのか
That voice is familiar.
知りたいんだ。お前は本当に世界の運命に興味がないのか
Kind of like Sasuke from Naruto, but I'm not sure if it's him.
確かにお前はあの男に改造を
They have the same kind of
なくなったのかもしれない
sounding voice, but I doubt it's him.
それで心や魂まで変化が起きてるわけではないはずだ。
はあ、だからなんだ。
お前を信じたいんだ。最後にはきっと人々の剣となって
I actually want to look up the cast of different Guilty Gear things.
笑わせるな。
Soul says he exists to kill all gears and that man. Kai asks what makes his wife and child so different. Why not destroy them?
Yeah.
Soul says the conversation's over, but Kai tells him that he can't run from the truth.
Yeah, you lost and you're like, okay.
叩きのめされてか。
やってみろ。
You can't punch him
Soul
just
threatens
because he's
Kai.
right.
Kai tells him to try. He then asks him what comes next after revenge. Soul says he doesn't think that far ahead. Kai tells Soul that he knows nothing about his past or even his real name, but tomorrow always comes, and when it does, Soul has a home with his family.
He adopts
気持
Soul.
ち悪いことを言うな。頭でも打ったのか。
さあな。ジャスティスの子であるディゼをめとったんだ。
Yeah, Justice child, and then Soul, Justice's
Sin and El spend
boyfriend.
more time with Ramlethal in the interrogation room, and
possibly.
eventually get her to open up
This
by
is father?
introducing
I
a
don't know.
hamburger from fast food Danny Missiles.
Yeah, right there it is. Borg, you're so good, she changed.
Over time, they grow closer. El thanks Sin for what he's doing, but asks why he's attempting to befriend an enemy. Sin explains that he empathizes with the feeling of being thought of as a tool or a machine that has to suppress its emotions to not be abandoned.
Fair enough. Tirnanog
President
isn't that
Gabriel
different from
personally
the Zep
receives
ship.
Kai and Soul as they arrive at Zep. He informs them that an unexpected guest, Zato 1, arrived earlier and is currently waiting to speak to them. Zato 1 explains that he's only alive due to the machinations of the Conclave, and thanks to that, he can shed light on their motives. They control the Cradle, and inside the Cradle is the body of the God of Destruction, Justice.
Oh,
Evidently, since the Conclave aren't
I didn't know
satisfied
that.
with already covertly controlling the world politically, their goal must be a world where they control all free thought as well. The resurrection of Justice,
again,
who has
power
already
hungry
demonstrated
losers.
the power to globally mind control an entire species, might allow them to accomplish this. The resurrection experiment with Zato and Eddie taught them how to bind their own soul to her body and assume full control. The possibilities of this plan strike Soul, Kai, and Gabriel as dangerously plausible. But just then, they receive a report that Bedman has infiltrated Zep by his lonesome.
Of course it's by his lonesome. How else is gonna appear?
皆事が済むまでゼップ名産の茶でも楽しんでいていただこう。
大統領は
カリーは獲物を追い立てる犬が必要だからな。
What is that? Well, is he fighting himself?
貴様か、随分と派手に暴れてくれたな。損害請求は誰にすればいい？元老院か、それともバレンタインか。寝たままでは会話もままならないか。ならばとっておきの目覚ましをプレゼントしてやろう。
Oh Jesus! Is it key?
名付け、マグニティ。
That was a nose. Oh my god. He is actually strong. No wonder he's in charge.
Gabriel tracks down Bedman, who started.
I keep thinking when I see the Bedman here, I keep thinking how he looks in Strife, or more like it looks in Strife, the bed itself. And it's like a bit fucked up and crooked, like the broken eye, like all that stuff. And I'm looking at the things, and now it's the first kind of, it's not a dent, it's more cracks that were done, but I wonder if that's after this, after Xrd, when Bedman is defeated. That's how the bed looks, like in the end here, and before it gets automated or whatever.
By the strength of Gabriel's bare hands. He
Oh,
attempts
his
to
name's
escape,
Gabriel.
but Gabriel physically stops him,
Jesus
slamming him
Christ.
to the ground.
Is that Cliff's reincarnation?
He's
What the
brought in
fuck
for
is going
questioning,
on?
But ultimately to no avail.
He's probably just sleeping.
Kai contacts Leo from Zepp and updates him on the situation, then asks for authority to release a special person to help fight the Cradle.
Stop releasing people. Dog.
Bedman visits Ramlethal in a dream, explaining that things have not gone according to plan, but he still succeeded in reaching her. He explains that she failed her mission and did not self-destruct, so it's Mother's will that she be erased to stop any further info from being compromised.
Okay.
Ram explains that it's because her and El's powers cancel each other out, but she accepts Mother's decision. She asks if she can take her dog with her as a last request.
Cute.
Bedman is startled by this blatant display of emotions and becomes immediately upset with his client upon realization that Ramlethal showed signs of a personality.
I hate when women show signs of personality.
Suddenly,
I
he
know
hears
the
Sin
reason, I'm just
entering the
joking.
room and hides. Bedman
Someone's
watches
coming.
as Sin has
In
a
a dream.
heart-to-heart with Ram to help her understand the new feelings she's experiencing.
Axel's running from backyard to the dream.
それはラムが表現できる言葉を知らないだけだ。この気持ち、この景色も何か難しい言葉とか理屈で説明されたくないんだ。違うよ。ラムは道具なんかじゃない。
Sin feels more of a human than I thought.
てめえ、いつの間に
You okay? Oh no.
Bedman interrupts and drags them both into his dream world. He then decides to
Kills
teach her
the
the
dog.
meaning of the word replacement.
犬はすまなかったね。でもこれが一番手っ取り早く分かりやすいと思ったんだ。
Okay.
君にはどうやら感情がある。だから代わりという意味を知るべきだ。
I'm gonna teach her
Apologetically,
depression.
He kills her magehound puppy, then creates a new identical one with a summoning spell.
But this one doesn't bite.
When the dog doesn't bite her, she realizes something's wrong.
違う違うこれじゃないどうして同じ犬なのに何が違うの
It's a better behaved dog.
これが代わりということだ。でも君は前の犬が好き
She's like, I like this one more, it doesn't bite.
みんながそれぞれ違うの
Well, not everything.
私も
That is true. Well,
私も違う
I guess she created by the backyard, so that's not necessarily true. Maybe now it might be when she got emotions, but before when she was just programmed to do it, she was doing what she was
Bedman
programmed to
goes
do.
off
Then
on his client, forgiving Valentine's
She-
emotions,
not
asking
necessarily
her
was
what the
unique.
hell she was thinking, then tells her that she can finish the show on her own. She apologizes, admitting fault, and reassures him that he's necessary to complete the absolute world. Bedman accepts her apology. In the Illyrian war
Alright.
room, Leo introduces President Vernon to Kai's requested help, Dr. Paradigm. Immediately, Paradigm begins a complete analysis of the Cradle events so far. He concludes that first, the Cradle is not only carrying the body of justice, there are other life signs as well.
Okay,
Furthermore,
it's conclave
the
there.
attack on Babylon was not an attack, but actually a means of transportation. Lastly, the remains of the victims of Babylon left behind gray dust, which is exactly what happens when normal life enters the backyard.
I guess
But
they
allows you
condense to the
survive
gray
their
dust.
encounter, due in part to being one of the forces that fought alongside Kai during Baptisma 13. They all received special blessings of protection against magic tuning from the backyard. He concludes that the Cradle is hiding in the backyard, but must reappear in our reality once every 26 hours to come up for air. That presents the perfect chance to turn the tables.
Come up for air.
Vernon is
I guess
thoroughly
it's just
impressed and remarks that he may have
the
been
way
too
they said
quick to
it.
judge Kai when he spoke of coexistence with Gears.
maybe not to get destroyed.
Paradigm also casually
by the
reveals that the
information
Opus
density.
units deployed worldwide are mostly Gears, which appropriately panics Vernon and Leo.
Especially Vernon.
ゆりかごの行き過ぎのタイミングとその出現範囲をある程度絞り込んである。ゆりかごの再出現ポイントを取り囲むように各国の精鋭兵力で包囲網を敷く。出現と同時に包囲網を狭め、一斉に全火力を注ぎ込んで集中砲火を浴びせるのだ。ゆりかごごと中身のジャスティスを粉砕するぞ。
Maybe you can fly around it by and
Together
create
with
a
joint
big
coalition
door
of
that you
forces
can
from various nations
use
sole
and then
bad
just...
guys. They plan to intercept the next appearance of the crater,
Again, I'm just speedballing
projected
here.
to be above the northern Black Sea. With 420 tracking beacons,
Did you guess right?
hundreds of international airships, Dr. Paradigm's secret weapon, and a half-magic, half-black-tech intercontinental ballistic missile named Vagilanda.
バジランダ発射
A bit too early? No. It's not there yet. Oh, God. Oh, that's what you did it for.
With Soulback
You could have
right on
broken
top
it.
of the counterattack operation commences.
作戦は完璧だ。
Suddenly,
何事だ。
何者かがビーコンを破壊しています。
Bedman appears and wastes no time as he begins destroying tons of beacons in the projected area. Leo attempts to stop him and falls short, but Johnny joins him, and together
Oh,
they're
hey,
able
Johnny.
to stall Bedman for time. Faust, with help from the May ship, manages to use his teleporting door to get a backup beacon placed just before the Cradle appears.
Nice. Perfectly done.
Allowing
How's
the
this more
airfield to
goofy
be
than I
immediately
expected?
surrounded on all sides. Before Cronus can get his bearings, Paradigm's secret weapon, that man, appears before the Cradle.
Oh.
久しいね、クロノス。こんな形で再会するなんて残念。
やめーか。なぜここに。防衛砲撃撃ち落とせ。
Yeah, good luck.
無駄だよ。
ゆりかごには光線を目的とした装備はない。
Oh, that's why? Even though it shoots lasers?
倒すことはできん。だが、それは貴様も同じだ。いかにギアメーカーであろうと。
But a big rocket can.
そうだね。
The certain dumbass on top.
絶対防壁。
I guess he was a scientist, I can't call him dumbass.
リスペクト。しかし、
Certain bad guy.
することはできる。僕と彼と
The flame of corruption. Where are you going? Nice catch. Unless he stab himself.
やはりてめえか。
フレデリック、今は作戦に集中して。
After a quick greeting, that man tells Cronus to not waste any time attacking, and explains that while absolute defense Felion can't be dispelled, it can be destroyed with the force of a spontaneous microverse.
Of course. It's obvious when he says it.
直接引き出す攻撃。フレデリックが繰り出す拳は今、地球上では成し得ない高エネルギーを作り出している。それを僕が質量に変換し、シュバルツシルト半径の限定空間に閉じ込め、そして魔法防壁のある物理空間そのものを消滅させ、別の小宇宙を誕生させる。あとはこの世界の崩壊をせき止めるフォローをするだけ。簡単な話だ。
That sounds like it. The rest is
Soul
simple.
destroys the Cradle's barrier, opening the way for all airships to open fire, vaporizing everything until the only thing left when the smoke clears.
Seems like Conclave was inside.
やってくれたなギラメーカー。やはり貴様が最悪の敵だ。しかし耐え切ったぞ。我々の勝ちだ。
Is the corpse of Justice, full-sized and stripped of her outrage armor.
Okay.
The tea room itself is physically located inside her body, and from there, Cronus begins to directly shift her into the backyard. That man moves to stop the escape, but Bedman suddenly jumps between them and teleports that man away. Soul
What a
is still
dick.
recovering from his last attack, but stands to chase after Justice. Elfelt flies and pulls him away before he can, explaining that even if he won, it would be a suicide mission to leave him trapped in the backyard.
I mean, someone else can join him later, maybe, and take him out of there. He just
Back
didn't
in the
do
war
it
room,
above a
everyone
city
meets to
again.
debrief. Dr. Paradigm considers
The
the
Cradle
operation
didn't
a
appear
failure,
above a city or
and
something.
Vernon confirms that Justice looked just the same as she did when he saw her last during the Crusades. L teaches Ram that it's okay to like yourself.
私の知る限りそれはナルシストといって悲しい生物だと記憶してるけど
No, narcissism is when you like yourself a bit too much.
それでいいんだよ
Liking yourself means
Soul and
good
Kai discuss the
self-esteem.
effect these recent attacks will have on the people. Kai laments that humanity is still healing scars from the Crusades, and that with magic they were working towards an overall improvement of the human condition. Soul says, yeah, things are stable and people have nice lives, but that comes at the cost of their freedom of choice.
Closer to your
Kai
end
asks
game.
if he then advocates for
I thought
anarchy and
Fortnite
chaos.
started
Soul
referring
says
to
no,
kills
but
at the
eventually
end
people
game.
go from appreciating what you give them to expecting it, and then they get scared of losing it. Is that how we should live? Kai replies that not all people have the strength to stand
Okay,
on their own.
a little criticism towards Wooly versus. Okay, remembered. Why sometimes he voiceovers, not necessarily like voiceovers word for word with dialogue say, but he kind of sums them up more or less, and sometimes he doesn't. What makes a difference? Just odd.
だがそれ今の
I said that, he stopped.
ただ何かを恐れているだけに見える
何
真を気遣うお前を見てそれが分かったよ誰も巻き込みたくない違うか
You know what a Chad thing of Soul to do? Since Kai married Soul's daughter, now Soul can marry Kai's son. And like, it's just revenge.
行動をかき立て何もかも破壊しろと本能が指図してくる
She's Soul's daughter, that was never mentioned, I don't think, in the lore.
方法を見つけ出し
It is Justice's,
全てを
and
引き出す
Soul,
おかげ
or I guess Frederick was dating Arya.
そ
So, I don't know.
の先に真っ当な生き方
Not a daughter until proven otherwise.
Eventually, with Ramlethal's help, the group discerns based on the date that the Conclave plans to harness St. Elmo's fire, the massive lightning bolt at Illyria Castle, to channel enough energy into Justice to bind Cronus' soul to her vessel. Leo calls for a full evacuation of the city surrounding the castle, leaving only the Opus units behind. Paradigm proposes a plan. Amplify the
I
energy
suppose
from
units
St.
are
Elmo's fire
fine, at
and
least for now.
overload Justice and the Conclave. Coincidentally, Dizzy, free from the Thunder Seal, reunites with Sin and Kai for the first time in 2 years.
もっと素敵な再会ができたらよかったのですけど
That'll be helpful.
髪の毛
She's a
随分と伸びました
commander level unit or something? I can't remember
切っ
exactly.
ても切ってもすぐに伸びるようになってしまって
She's strong, is what I'm
見てあげた
saying.
だろ 2年前から80センチは伸びたからな。
立派になって。お願い。こっちへ来て。もっとよく見せて。
I mean, she experienced kind of the same thing as he did.
俺たちは絶対この危機を乗り越える。これが最後なんてみじんも思わない。それに母さんは絶対に俺が守る。だから今はカイ。母さん、今この時は甘えてくれ。
Hey, he followed what Elle said. Yeah, it was her.
As the time draws near, Cronus, Axis, and Libraria share a final moment to reaffirm their resolve. Knowing they won't meet again, they vow to reunite in the next life and share some tea with Baldius.
That's kind of nice. I like their camaraderie. They seem like they actually care about each other.
Commencing the operation, Justice appears above the west tower of Illyria Castle and connects energy tendrils to the lightning rod. Cronus preemptively begins the soul-binding process, allowing him to command the gear cell-based Opus units to attack the castle plaza.
There we go, there's the Opus units at their
Kai
worst.
and Leo reminisce about the old days on the battlefield and intercept the Opus army on the ground level, with reinforcements from Sin and Elfelt, wielding her Cypress Project magic weapons.
Why doesn't she use her magic if she's a Valentine? One of the
Eventually, they get
Valentines, I don't
split
know.
up, and while Kai is
That
distracted,
would be more correct to say it. Oops. Oops. More? No, not the black technology? Is that what they call it? Black technology weapon? A revolver. Silly. I find it silly.
しかし間もなく我々の新たな世界が始まる。君のような人物はどんな脅威になるかわからない。
Instead of Justice, Kai gets resurrected from this, maybe?
ここで退場。
I know he's alive later, or maybe he just heals late.
Axis executes Kai point blank with
Never
a fifth
mind.
shot, holding a black tech revolver. But as he turns to walk away,
Black tech.
そうではない。
Okay, he just stands up like some kind of a Chad. And fixes his hair.
バカな。そんなはずはない。君は確かに
The guitar, ooh.
そうなるように言ったのだ。
国民は私が言うような青臭い理想論を実現できるなどと信じていない。私に託された期待は正しい政治ではない。だがたとえどんな暴力
I named Blink in the previous, for some reason. The previous dialogue window.
信じてくれているんだ。
one of his eyes glows crimson red. Axis, confused by Kai's new gear-like power, staggers backwards as Kai destroys him in a single blow.
Dragon install!
どんな悪にも決して膝を屈しないことだ。
I mean, you say, like, destroys them immediately, like, instantly, what? But he didn't show, like, any powers, he just showed up with a fucking revolver. And Kai brought a magic sword and the black tech gunfight, I don't know.
As St. Elmo's fire strikes the tower, Justice comes alive.
Welcome back, I guess. Again.
From his nerve center, Kronos proclaims victory.
Too early. You don't do that until you've done it.
見ているかギアメーカーよ貴様たちの要求はこれで満たされる我々の手によってな
Oh, real eye. Not just yellow glow. Looks creepier this way.
Dizzy charges and fires a gamma ray into the already charged electric conductor, causing a massive energy overload.
Yeah, as you do. Justice isn't a mech.
Justice
Get
begins
out.
to malfunction, Liberaria returns to Kronos,
Oh.
saying that this loss is retribution they deserve. Kronos tells her to go find the Gearmaker, as only he can preserve the future of humanity now. Liberaria refuses, saying that that should be Kronos' duty, and that she wishes they talked more. She then casts a spell, teleporting him away.
Again, they care. No, it's attack on bad guy.
While Justice is weakened, Soul attacks from
Feels
atop
like this
the
is
tower,
injustice.
landing a critical strike that detonates her core.
Huh?
She doubles over, collapsing the castle tower as she falls.
She's not gonna explode in a cross, is she? She kind of reminds me of a Evangelion mech.
Hours later, the sun rises as everyone recovers from the rubble. They all appear to be alright, though Dizzy has passed out from exhaustion. Suddenly, as Sin finds El, she attacks him.
Oh.
ジャスティスの覚醒によって私のミッションは達成されました
Was she actually following the programming?
With a cold, emotionless demeanor, Elfelt says that her job was to monitor Soul to make sure he didn't destroy Justice and to ensure that he didn't wake up. Her true mission was even concealed from her own self until now. Sin is in disbelief, but Soul sees this as just another betrayal. He says that all the Valentines had emotions, even if they claimed not to, and that there's clearly a boundary separating the current Elfelt from the one they know. He demands that she bring her back.
Okay.
Elfelt goes into attack mode, casting her Rain of Judgment.
Take the bandana off. Destroy her. Oh, not going to?
But Soul closes the distance, destroying her summoned attack apparatus. From Bedman's dream, he and his client observe the situation with satisfaction, and from Bedman's dream...
Is that just Asuka?
He and his client observe the
I
situation
can't tell
with
who's in the mirror.
satisfaction, and initiate a sequence that teleports the corpse of Justice away.
Just leave it be, god damn it. Leave Justice alone. Let it be destroyed. Let her be gone.
Soul approaches Elfelt, but is stopped by her barrier. Absolute defense failure. Nonetheless, Soul keeps punching at the barrier, demanding that the inner El prove her words, that people shouldn't be alone. Words that echo those of Arya. For a
Oh.
moment, His
That's
words
why they
hit through,
resonated with him.
and the old Elfelt emerges, apologizing that she can't fight Mother's will. In her brief moment of clarity, she apologizes and begins a self-destruct sequence.
こんなことなら
But Ram stops it.
私は道具として
Maybe?
生まれてきたかった
To like have a different perspective kind of thing, mirroring actions for the coolness effect.
But just as she does, it's stopped by Ramlethal.
I fucking knew it.
感情はこれは大事なもの今なら私の方がそれを知っているマム母さんは間違ってるあなたも私も道具なんかじゃない深夜私にとって違うなんだだから
Yeah.
必ず助けるだから
She could come back. I kind of like going through this. I don't know what's gonna be next. There are like 2 episodes after this, and also 2
As
hours.
Elfelt vanishes, Soul immediately starts walking away.
親父
You know, I'll go back to that thought later.
さっさと取り返しに行くぞこれ以上奪われてたまるか
Oh wait, there's an XRev, no XRd Rev. Oh no, XRd Revelation or Revelator, and then there's XRev, XRd Rev
Elsewhere,
2.
in the rubble of the central organ tower, Cronus survives alone. As he takes a step, Faust appears behind him,
Oh
asking
shit!
where he plans to go now. There are many questions to be answered, in particular, what he planned to do with the Japanese colonies. Cronus tells Faust that he can carry about whatever revenge he wishes, and that he has no idea what colony situation is being referred to.
白を切るのですかあなたたちはこんなことをしておいてまだ飽き足らないんですかいや本当にわからないジャパニーズコロニーに関しては適切な医療措置を行っているに過ぎない
If the Conclave was not orchestrating the mysterious events in the Japanese colonies, then those orders must have come from someone with even more authority. But who could possibly have more influence than the leader of the Conclave?
それではあり得る帝王芸のお言葉をいただきましょう
The universal will. Okay. All right. This was a hell of an episode. As I was saying, I'm kind of going through this, seeing how it all kind of connects, but on the same point over and over again. Maybe not in every story it was like about justice and her body and whatever, but a lot of them do, and because of that, I kind of like Strive, or Strive's story. Not because I like Happy Chaos and he's a nice, well, not nice character, but like I like him as a character, but also I don't think there were flashbacks of Saul or Frederick talking to Arya, and there was a lot about Arya's soul with Jekko, who hasn't appeared in the lore yet. I am watching it. I guess Justice would be completely destroyed, right? When with Junkyard Dog gonna shoot a laser or something. I remember that. I am waiting for it. Because I think Jekko is there as well. And that's probably gonna be in the 2 episodes or so. But again, Strive's story seems to be actually being just continuing the world building, continuing stuff that is not the same. I don't think it's bad per se that they keep like trying to revive Justice or use Justice. Like she was a threat. Then she was defeated and put into prison, where she escaped the prison. Then she was defeated and killed, but now she's resurrected. and then when Resurrection failed, she wasn't destroyed again, she was taken, and she's gonna be used again. It's kind of too much, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit overthinking it, and it's also through years of consuming different kind of content. But I feel like it's overused, maybe. Maybe that's the right word. And again, in Strife, that wasn't used. Happy Chaos was used. A lot of stuff was like revealed that was alluded to in the lore here. I know. I'm talking about this lore like I've watched the whole thing. There are 2 videos that are 2 hours together worth of content. That is the most recent one outside of Strive. So there is more to talk about. So I guess I'll do it then when I know the full story. I will forget this. Don't worry about it. But I hope you're enjoying this. I'm enjoying watching it. I hope you enjoy watching me watching it, which is a bit weird. I feel like you just a peeping Tom just watching me when I'm at least vulnerable. I don't know. I wanted to make a joke and I fucked that up. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it a lot. I hope to see you next time, and goodbye. Have a great life, because one of us has to.